Hi, my name is David Siegel.
And I'm Christina Cheney.
In this webinar, we want to tell you about our new company, The Infinite Game of Life.
We'll show you how to get through your divorce and have it turn out better than you think.
If you have a quiet moment without interruptions to watch this, great. But if you have kids and phones and things to deal with, that's okay too. This is for high net worth people thinking about getting divorced, in the middle of it, or already divorced. Before we introduce ourselves, we're going to help you with your divorce right now.
Someone going through a divorce has a lot of external stress. There is uncertainty and there are surprises. Attorneys like to play hardball, which means you're going to be on the receiving end of some very nasty written complaints, whether they are true or not.
Many of your friends are less available. Your social life disappears. You spend a lot of time alone. It's normal to feel lonely during this time.
If you have kids, you've probably already heard them say, I hate the divorce. They are caught in the middle. They don't see what you see. They want to understand. They want it to be someone's fault.
It can feel like you're drowning. You're going to be up to your ears in things you have to track, manage, do, be responsible for, and at the same time, be on the lookout for any tricks or surprises. Does this all sound familiar? You're getting a divorce because you think the future will be better for everyone, not just for the parents. But you don't have to do it alone.
While there is no roadmap to a perfect divorce, it's important to keep in mind why you're getting divorced. You're going to have a relationship with each other forever. It may get worse before it gets better. But ultimately, you want a good divorce, one that is better for everyone, especially the kids. Here are a few suggestions for how to approach this.
First, write your vision of how things could actually be better in the future. This should be 2 or 3 pages describing your lives in a few years. Perhaps you're remarried or your ex is. Kids are a bit older. Scars are healing. Finances are dealt with fairly. Things are not only okay, but you have a good working relationship. No one is scared of being sued or surprised. You have a new sense of purpose, and most days are good days. Everyone feels like it's working out. Ask your spouse to do the same. Then exchange these notes. Sit down and just talk about the future, just about the life 3 years from now. Perhaps there are many things you can agree on. That's a great start.
Second, you need to get organized, really organized, and not in a notebook, but in a set of digital documents that you can maintain, access, and share easily. Take notes during every phone call. Compile and organize text and email messages. Sort everything by date so you can find it easily.
Third, it's in everyone's best interest to stay out of court. Court should be the last resort. It may be difficult, but do your best to get into mediation so there are no time limits and no rushed decisions. In a courtroom, you have to manage time, resources, and the judge's attention. And judges almost always split the difference and move on, leaving you with a written agreement that is very difficult to follow. Don't make the mistake of thinking your lawyer will solve your legal problems. Not only is that not true, but you can be paying your lawyer to create legal problems. A lawyer can do 99% of everything right, but it's the 1%, the little thing that gets dropped, where you get screwed. While the lawyer moves on to the next case, you're stuck with these decisions forever. I had 5 lawyers, 2 of which were incompetent and expensive. The lawyer I hired to write my prenup should not be practicing law. It was my fault. I didn't check her work thoroughly enough. Rather than using the court system, we advocate a collaborative divorce process where both parties and their attorneys negotiate together in the same room. Everyone signs a no court agreement, which says that if one person sues, both attorneys will leave the process. This arrangement isn't always possible, but if it is, a collaborative divorce is better for everyone than a contested divorce.
Avoid drama. It's better to hang up the phone than to say something you'll regret later. Don't react. Don't respond to anything directly. Don't put anything in writing, in email, or in text messages. Imagine anything you write being read out loud to the court by your ex's attorney. Tell your team what's going on and come up with a response together.
Your friends can sympathize, but they don't have the skills to help you navigate this process. It makes more sense to use a high level lawyer and an experienced advisor to help you decide on a basic strategy. Then choose which lawyer to work with and adjust as necessary. While your team sweats the details, you can spend more time with your kids and get a better overall result. Getting everything right is impossible. Society expects women to take on most of the heavy lifting during a marriage, and there's an explicit expectation that super soccer moms can handle a divorce along with everything else. If that were true, everyone would have a good divorce. Divorce is hard. You need all the help you can get. The most important piece of advice I can give you: it's not embarrassing to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's smart. If you only get one thing from this webinar, it's this: you need a team. Now let's look at what we can do as a team to help you realize your good divorce.
A divorced family is still a family. Kids need a good environment. You should set a good example for how to behave with your ex so kids see both of you as models for how things will play out in the future. There's a lot to this. We'll discuss working with children later in this webinar.
We have the experience and resources to help you build a new life and minimize setbacks. You should be spending time with your kids, not scrutinizing the details of each document.
The best revenge is no revenge. Take amazing vacations with your kids. Have a party. For those who have been divorced for a while, we have fantastic dating coaches and matchmakers who can help you get back out enjoying your social life again.
Take it day by day. Continue to focus on what you can change and leave the drama out of it. Keep steering toward your good life after divorce. We help our clients learn stoicism so they become.
Unbreakable.
If you have a lot at stake, if you have a lot of assets, you're going through a divorce or a big life change, you have kids and want them to become responsible adults, I want you to watch this entire presentation because we're going to give you the keys to reducing risk and consistently improving your outcomes.
We want you to look back later and say the divorce was the best thing that could have happened to you and your kids.
So in the rest of this webinar, we'll tell you who we are, common misconceptions about family support, what we do for our clients, and why. We'll also tell you about our exclusive high net worth Facebook group and our money back guarantee so you can't lose. If you're like me, you hate hard sell webinars and sales pitches. I can't stand it when people say, if you stay till the very end, I'm going to give you a free gift, which is usually a checklist or a guide or some kind of PDF. Instead, at the end, I'm going to ask you to give money to one of the charities we work with to help girls in developing countries. Who am I? Well, for one thing, I'm someone who knows what you're going through. I went through it myself. I struggled through a difficult marriage for nearly a decade before finally getting divorced. When we finally split up, it was very hard on the boys, especially the younger one, who kept saying, I don't know who to believe. I think I heard I hate the divorce more times than I can possibly count. After getting my master's degree in computer science at Stanford, I worked at Pixar during the first year of the company. Then I went back to Palo Alto and started my first startup. Since then, I've started more than a dozen companies, sold a few of them, raised more than $20 million from my projects, and managed assets of more than $150 million. 5 times I've made more than $1 million doing something I'd never done before, and I've created 2 entirely new categories of business that many others followed. I was once a candidate to be the dean of Stanford Business School. In 2018, I was one of the leaders of the crypto movement. I started a nonprofit in Switzerland that's still going today. I've had personal assistants, beautiful homes, German cars, concierge services, and private banking. All in all, it hasn't been that satisfying. My divorce took 4 years, 5 lawyers, and both of us lost a lot. My wife and I both wasted far too much time, money, and energy on lawyers in the court system. It was devastating for all of us financially and emotionally. Finally, my family is in a much better place. The boys aren't resentful, they love their online school, and I enjoy an effective working relationship with their mother. I wish I'd known 20 years ago what I know now. There aren't many good options for service companies that really understand and care about high net worth people. Multifamily offices are a scam. Concierge companies mostly suck up to wealthy people and don't add that much value. As a startup entrepreneur, I want to disrupt that world and create a company where the incentives are aligned, the client actually benefits, and our clients have more time to focus on what's important to them and their kids.
I'm Christina Cheney. As a female entrepreneur in the tech industry, I had to learn a lot in a hurry. Luckily, I had great mentors who helped me learn from my failures so I could succeed with my goals. And I was in the right place at the right time in the early 1990s in South San Francisco, which was ground zero for the internet industry. Dave was one of my mentors who helped me reach my early career goals. After I worked with Dave, I started my first company, and everything changed for me. I was working hard for a purpose, and I really loved it. I felt powerful. I was strong and confident. I had never felt that way before because as a child, I was painfully shy. But after becoming a leader in the industry, I started doing paid speaking engagements, including a keynote speech with 400 people in the audience. I got to travel the world because I was in control of my own schedule. Now I can live wherever I want. So I live on Maui with my husband, who is an internationally known artist. Professionally, I'm a project manager. I am often called in to help fix projects that are stuck. Getting unstuck and keeping things running smoothly are my specialties. I have managed multi-million-dollar projects and teeny tiny projects. I'm lucky to have so much variety to keep me interested and inspired. I am playing the infinite game of life in my personal life, and I know how rewarding and powerful it is. So I'm excited to be starting this new company with Dave. Now, we want to address some common misconceptions people have about family support.
The first is that your lawyer will solve your legal problems. Not only is that not true for divorce, but it's true for many legal situations. You could be paying your lawyer to create legal problems. Your lawyer will help you with strategy, but that doesn't make it the best strategy for you. You're better advised by someone who doesn't make more money depending on the outcome of your decision. It makes more sense to use a high level lawyer and an experienced advisor to help you decide on a basic strategy, choose which lawyer to work with, and adjust as necessary.
Beyond basic and emergency health services, Americans spend more money than any other country, and we have worse results to show for it. Doctors are incentivized by what pays the most, and they have a very narrow view of all the information in their field. You can get better health outcomes for yourself, your parents, and your kids by having a medical advisor and a biostatistician to help make good medical decisions and let other doctors execute the decisions. The best outcome is to minimize your time with doctors in the first place.
For example, your parents, and especially your mother, may be at an age where she has been diagnosed with osteoporosis and prescribed Fosamax. Fosamax is a popular drug that is very profitable. However, it causes bones to become brittle, so they break like this. This is a very unnatural break. For many older people, this is the end of mobility. This drug does not save many fractures, yet doctors prescribe it every day. I know this because I broke both my hips before age 60, and they prescribed Fosamax for me. The best remedy for osteoporosis is weight-bearing exercise. The last thing you want is an expensive drug that can make things worse. Most wealth managers are salespeople. They aren't usually very sophisticated at money management. Multifamily offices are a scam. They only care about assets under management and the fees they generate. Most hedge funds aren't much better. Venture capital and private equity are now very crowded. Simple index funds and ETFs, while less exotic, can easily be the base of a smart, beta-driven portfolio. Wealth managers prefer more active management, which may be in their best interest, but not yours.
You would think bookkeeping is simple and straightforward, but very few people do it well. There are a lot of details. Little things can get miscategorized or go missing. Talk with any accountant. They rarely see clean books from families. You need a system that has double checks built in, so it should be impossible to get it wrong. You need a system similar to what larger businesses have, so everything is done properly and the accountant has a clear view into what's really going on.
Most families rely on consultants to help set up governance, to pass on wealth and give back to the next generation. This could be one of the most important areas you're not paying attention to. Most wealth doesn't survive 2 generations. Governance takes careful thought and consideration. Do not outsource this. So, look, if you've gotten this far into our webinar, I'm going to assume some things aren't working. I assume you've learned some hard lessons, and we want you to know it's not your fault. No one can get a divorce right, and trusting experts can be a big part of the problem. It's hard. We know it's hard. Whether you hire us or someone else, we highly recommend a team approach. These are the core elements of our program. It takes 3 to 6 months to put in place, and then we can scale back or scale up depending on what you want. But we also know discretion is key. Everything we do is handled with the utmost in privacy, security, and concern for your priorities.
What do you get when you hire us? First, you get the core package of support, which is creating an online system to manage your life.
We put everything into a system called Notion, which lets us build you a custom app. It takes a few months to put this together. You need descriptions of everything you own, including serial numbers, warranties, service, etc. You want to catalog your vendors and agreements. Now, you can do that, or we can, but if you have kids who are at least teenagers, we can hire them to do that work for us. We'll give them a contract, pay them by the hour, supervise them, and have them gather all this data and put it where it belongs in the databases. It'll be a great learning experience, and you don't need to invite any strangers into your homes.
We'll have a weekly meeting with you to move things along. We'll create a full system for managing goals and tasks just for you. As each task or subtask gets completed, it gets checked off the list in the system. And I love checking off completed tasks.
We create a decision support system so you can use a proven framework for making decisions, review them later, and see how they did. The number one thing you can do to improve your decision quality is to explain your decision process to a third party, someone who doesn't care about the outcome, but who is there to make sure you follow a good process.
Finally, we build a database of all your vendors, consultants, and companies you might want to work with in the future. We're always expanding this database so you can easily get trusted resources on a moment's notice. We'll build you a starter system for free during our initial phone call.
The resource audit gives us a chance to look at the big picture and see where we can improve. Examples are that we can find auto pay contracts you're not using but still paying for, real estate or other assets that should really be sold, items that need maintenance or repair, alternative service providers who can do a better job or charge less, etc.
We also have partners who provide 24/7 technical support for all your devices. Do you have a password manager? If you can remember your passwords, you are not safe. You need complex passwords. If you're not using a password manager, stop watching this video and go to
onepassword.com and set up your account right now. Or call us and we'll set it up with you. Go ahead. Take your time. This is very important. We'll still be here when you get back. We've mentioned decision support. We don't just do it for you. We want our clients to build strong decision muscles based on the principles of decision science, which we'll teach you as we go along. As an example, you want to invest in a cool startup your friends are investing in. Great. But how much should you put in? Well, most people ask the entrepreneurs how much they need, or do they just do what their friends did? There are actually formulas and frameworks for working that out.
We're not going to change the grown-ups in your life, and neither are you. We're going to work with you to be more tolerant, deal efficiently with the tasks of each day, be prepared for whatever comes up, and spend more time living the life you really want to live. One of the foundations of our coaching is learning stoicism. Don't worry about the things you can't change and prioritize and do the things you can change. Stoics don't worry, they accept and they act.
Do you want to write a book? Give a TEDx talk? Start a business or a nonprofit? What big goals do you have?
A 2016 study found that ongoing accountability increases the probability of success more than 2.5 times more than without support.
We want to make you anti-fragile. Anti-fragile is more than unbreakable. It means you get stronger in the face of adversity. The more you stress your bones, the stronger they get. The more germs your immune system handles, the stronger it gets. The more you tear your muscle fibers, the more they recover and build new muscle. We encourage all our clients to set up and maintain a fairly aggressive exercise routine. Why aggressive exercise? Because starting at age 40, your body loses 2% of its muscle mass every 10 years, and that increases about 1% each decade. If you don't get serious, you'll end up with 30% less muscle mass at age 75 than those who do.
To play the infinite game is to get strong and keep your family strong for life. On the right is Hurricane Hawkins. At age 103, she's running the 100-meter dash in 47 seconds.
Pretty impressive. I might be able to beat that, but I hope I get to 103. We want to keep you away from doctors and make you a role model for your kids. This is something we all need to start today. A combination of 3 times a week aerobic or endurance exercise, 2 strength training, and 2 core workouts.
If you commit to this, if you want us behind you all the way, we'll hold you accountable, manage setbacks, and make you anti-fragile. And we'll do it with you. Right, Dave?
Right, Christina. I'm working on my 10K time this year. My goal is 1 hour and 5 minutes with a stretch goal of under 1 hour. What about you?
Me? In addition to my regular aerobic schedule, I'm committing to 2 strength trainings per week, targeting the big muscle groups. I'm committing to doubling the number of reps in 6 months.
Great. Think of us like your personal Jarvis, your real-time assistant who can do anything, find anything, read your mind, and keep you out of trouble. As technology and AI allow, we will replace ourselves with tech that works better, cheaper, and faster than we do.
We give you time to focus on your kids and your goals, and we keep you from making small mistakes that can have big consequences.
In addition to the core service set, we also plan to offer extra services to support our clients, starting with back office support, which includes bookkeeping, transaction support, payments, budgeting, accounts, and credit, and more. When you're wealthy, it seems like every dollar doesn't really count, but it does. Every dollar you waste is a dollar you could put to better use.
We also want to work with your kids to make sure they have a challenging, purpose driven education driven by their own intrinsic desires.
Speaking of children brings us to the story of a woman I know whom I will call Marie. Marie is married to a wealthy man who is quite religious. They have 2 girls, ages 14 and 16. Everything was going well. The girls enjoyed their private school and they were solid members of their local and church communities. The 14-year-old decided she wanted to start meeting boys. She met a 40-year-old man who lied to her and told her he was going to help her learn about sex, and 2 weeks later she was pregnant. The father refused to let her get an abortion and told Marie to hire a nanny. The younger girl thought it wasn't too bad. She'd get out of school, get a lot of attention, and learn to be a mom. 2 months later, the older girl, who was a straight A student, also became pregnant by the same guy because she was jealous of her younger sister.
At this moment, Marie is planning for the birth of 2 grandchildren and decades of responsibility she wasn't expecting. While this came out of nowhere, it was not unpreventable. Marie needed more support in raising the girls than she got, and she's going to need much more help in the future.
We actually could have prevented Marie's situation in the first place because we know that girls aren't getting the attention and support they deserve. The onset of puberty in the US is now 12 and a half years, and 10% of girls are now starting before age 11. Depression among teen girls is up 145% in the last 10 years. There is a 48% increase in self-harm and an 82% increase in successful suicides. Much of this is caused by social media, but that's not the end of the story. Michael Strong, CEO of the Socratic Experience School we work with, has shown in his research that the failure to develop purpose and connection in mainstream schools puts one's child at substantial risk of lifelong debilitating behavioral health conditions as well as suicide. Teen suicide rates are higher during the school year than in summer. We want to help fund research at the University of Austin at Texas to find optimal ways to help teens become more purposeful and less focused on pleasing adults with assignments and grades.
What about your purpose? Do you have big goals?
Let me tell you about a woman who changed her life with a big goal. Sarah Safari is a California engineer who decided one day she was going to climb Mount Everest. She had no prior climbing experience, no camping, no hiking, no jogging, nothing. She started training. On her first mountain, she got her sleeping bag wet, almost froze to death, and failed to reach the top.
She kept going. After 4 years of training, in 2013, she climbed Aconcagua, the highest peak in South America. Over the next 4 years, she climbed all the other highest peaks except Everest. Finally, in 2022, she stood on top of Mount Everest. On the way to climbing all 7 summits, which only 70 women have ever done, she raised tens of thousands of dollars for Nepali girls to help them get education and support for succeeding in their lives. She said it felt indescribable to stand on top of the world. However, the main summit is women's empowerment that I've been climbing toward for the past 9 years. The hardships I went through was nothing compared to what most women go through in their life to have basic rights. I'm dedicating this summit photo to all the women around the world who are resilient and unstoppable and never give up in the face of their challenges. Sarah started a nonprofit called Climb Your Everest, an organization that creates educational and leadership programs for girls and helps change cultural norms to support them. What is your Everest? What could you commit to that would be a huge stretch that could change the course of your life?
Can you think of a big project that you could work on with your kids together to give you a common goal to work toward? We can. We want you to come with us to Mount Kilimanjaro in 2024, the highest point in Africa. What would it take? How would you feel standing on top of Africa with your family? What kind of confidence would that give you for other areas of your life? Would you combine it with a safari in East Africa and visit school children and mountain gorillas in Uganda? I took these photos, but I've never climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. Now I'm 63 and I'll bring my teenage boys. Are you coming with me, Christina?
Sure, I'm in, Dave.
Kilimanjaro is the world's highest freestanding mountain. Are you coming with us? If your kids are teenagers or older, be sure to talk with us about a magical adventure no one will forget. This trip will take place in January and February 2024, and it will be designed for kids to do research projects and school reports before and after. You'll find the itinerary on our website.
We also have an exclusive Facebook group for high net worth families. We want our clients to meet and get to know each other, plan projects, take trips, go on adventures together, and more. We'll work together to achieve extraordinary goals and support each other. Climbing Kilimanjaro is just the first of many adventures we want to create for families.
We are well aware that many clients don't want to be accessible. Everything we do is handled with the utmost in privacy, security, and concern for your priorities.
You don't have to be a paying client to join our group, but you do need an invitation. You can get one by talking with us.
I named this business for an important concept that there are two types of games, the finite and the infinite. In the finite game, you're playing to win, and usually someone else loses. You're playing according to the rules, and when the game ends, it's over. This is a transactional approach to life. But some people play the infinite game, which is never done, where there is always more to achieve, where there are no enemies, and where everything is possible because you're playing with the rules, not inside them. As the Stoics say, what's in the way is the way. Divorce is hard. Stay prepared. Take each thing one at a time. You'll get through it. Focus on what you can change and forget the drama.
Okay, so who are we looking for? People going through divorce or difficult relationship issues and other changes. People who have external stress, like children, lawsuits, difficult situations. And people who want to go big, help others, and make a serious difference. We can multiply their return on time and resources by 10x.
Who are we not looking for? I know a family with a fleet of Rolls Royces. The husband wants to impress people. They would not be a good fit for us. We're also not looking for people who are deeply religious, political, or closed minded. I'm always amazed at how bad wealthy people are at listening to other viewpoints. There are about 3,300 billionaires in the world. I've met and talked with more than a dozen of them. They all want the same exact thing: more money. What's the money for? I've met Jeff Bezos. I wouldn't work for him. I've never met Warren Buffett, but I'd gladly work for him.
We're just starting this business. You haven't heard of us. We want to give our clients a guarantee, so there's no reason not to work with us. Here's how it works. Spend an hour with us on a discovery call. We'll build your personal Notion starter dashboard and invite you to our Facebook group.
If we think there's a good fit, we'll give you a quote for the first 6 months. Try it. There will be a big check-in meeting at 3 months. If at that time you don't think it's worth the price, tell us how much you think it was worth, and we'll refund the difference. No questions asked.
In this case, we are the ones risking our time. So we want to make sure you'll be committed to making the improvements that we agree on.
In summary, our goal is to jump in and help you get stable. Make it so you are ahead of the divorce and in more control. Make sure you're spending quality time with your kids and helping them become more resilient. And if your kids are 12 or older, we really want you to think about coming with us to Africa. You'll need to start training and working together immediately. That'll be a common goal to work toward to help them forget about the divorce and meet similar families in our preparation meetings. We'll work with your school to allow the time off through an accredited online school. So it's about a 9-month project for kids. We want you to be ready for anything. So a year from now, you can say you really do have a great life and a good divorce.
We don't like high pressure sales pitches. We're not going to give you a limited time offer or something free for filling out the form.
We won't give you a choice between your amazing life with our services and your miserable life without us. You're going to be fine without us.
But are you okay with being just fine? Do you want to just get through this? Or do you want to have a great divorce that works for everyone? Do you want to minimize stress or maximize time with your kids?
The next step is to have a free discovery call with us. During the call, I'll create your own personal dashboard in Notion as we talk, which you're welcome to have and use. And then we'll send you a quote. Then we'll ask you to make a small donation to one of our charities to help girls in developing countries.
You don't have to. It's just our way of playing the infinite game of life.
We look forward to meeting you.
Talk with you soon.